And we're... Oh, this is a good start. And we're live. How's it going, Northreach? Welcome back to another episode of The Chopping Block. And I'm gonna be honest, I didn't get a lot of sleep before recording this, so if I start talking about, like, shadow people at the end, at the corner of the room that aren't really there, just do me a favor and let them claim me. Anyway, I'm your host, Hars, and with me, as always, is Vex.
Hello. And
with us tonight, our guest is a Knight of the Sword, who is actually from our neck of the woods originally. Welcome, Sir Sain.
Hey, how you guys doing?
How's it going, Sain?
Pretty good.
So, you said you were from our neck of the woods, like, so do you want to tell us a bit about what that was like, or... Because I think it was, like, right before I joined, so I'm a little out of the loop on that.
I actually haven't lived in Alaska since, like, 98.
Oh, okay, so that was a while ago then.
Yeah.
So you're not technically from Northreach proper, you're more from... Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually from Alaska, I didn't start playing Amtgard until, like, 2001 I sort of started, and then I took a long break until about 2007. So I kind of have really only been playing since about 2007, and it wasn't in Alaska.
Ah, okay, that's fair. Well, I mean, it sounds like you've made some pretty good accomplishments since then. According to legend, you are the king of barbarians, and we'll get to that in a minute. How about you, Vex? It's been a while. It's been a hot minute since we've hung out.
Yeah. I started watching a new show.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's something that people like, I guess.
What is this show, Vex?
Steven Universe.
That's a good show.
Oh, I love it so much.
Okay, so
So much.
we talked about this on your status bit, but to answer your question of what this other cat I associate was, it was the cat episode where he tries to shapeshift.
Oh, I haven't got there yet.
Okay, I was about to say, that's an early episode. I'm surprised you haven't.
I just finished volume 1.
Oh, okay, then. That would explain it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so I guess we can just sort of jump right into some of these questions. So a lot of the questions we got on this were actually asked from Minibard, so what we can do is just sort of alternate between his questions and the ones other people got. So, this first one he asks is...
He's also my squire. I don't know if you guys know that at this point.
That's right. I almost forgot about that. And it's kind of funny because, like, we actually have a lot of connections for these next couple episodes. With first we have Sir Sain, and then the next we have his squire. Then I believe we have originally before Aurora took up the mantle of Prime Minister of Rosencoast, we were originally going to interview Red, who is page to Lucian, the guest before her. And then was there any others? I feel like there were others. I don't know. I swear, if we finish recording and then I suddenly wake up, I'm gonna be so mad.
It's gonna work out fine.
Alright, cool. Alright, well, I guess jumping right into it then. The first one we got from Minibard is, what shot combo, technique, or whatever do you really wish you had in your Rolodex that you haven't spent time to nail down?
I was thinking about this question a little bit, and I guess it really isn't like a shot combo. It's more of a technique that a lot of top-end fighters have that I've just started getting into, and that is being able to completely halt an attack and turn it into a block once you realize that your opponent is not reacting in some sort of predictable way that you had wanted.
Mm-hmm.
An example is if you go to throw a shot, and instead of them trying to block, they try to counter throw a shot, being able to stop your shot and change it into a block.
Oh, I gotcha. So,
a lot of top-end fighters that I fight on a regular basis can do this pretty easily. I struggle with it quite a bit. So that'd be something that I'd like to have that I just haven't spent enough time trying to figure out how to do.
I gotcha. You want to take this next one, Vex?
What's Logan's name?
Drake.
Drake. Okay. Alright, so Drake says, so you're king of the barbarians. Tell us about that.
When I first got into Amtgard, all I really wanted to do was like be a barbarian. It was just like, you know, throw rocks at people, and I made a giant two-handed axe out of like, I think the core was like the bottom of a laundry basket that I had cut out and like shaped into an axe blade, and then like padded it with foam and stuff. It was ridiculous. So after a while, I ended up just playing mostly barbarian. Barbarian used to be really great, and my first term as king of Dragonspine was like a barbarian themed reign, and we did a bunch of cool barbarian stuff. And when I stepped down from that, I think Brandel had stepped up when I stepped down, and he gave me the title King of Barbarians. So that was pretty great. I think that was after, or no, yeah, that was after I became a master barbarian. So
that's awesome.
It was pretty cool.
I'm just imagining like a rain theme centered around barbarians. Like, I imagine there's a lot of, huh?
Conan theme.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it was like, it was kind of my initial foray into making competitive like households during a reign. So I kind of broke everybody up into like 5 different groups, like everybody who went to our park or whatever. And then there were like multiple objectives every week, and then like you'd keep track, and at some point at the end of the reign we kind of like added up all the points or whatever, and one of the clans won. And that reign specifically informed a lot about my second term as king, where I did like a Lord of the Rings themed reign, where we had all of the factions and we had a big hex board, and like people, you guys ended up doing a lot of kind of similar stuff to what I did that first time. So, and then I had a bunch of people ask me like kind of what the mechanics were and stuff like that. So it was a pretty cool thing that I was able to do.
Well, I think I have a question for you at the end. That's going to be at the end of sort of a lightning round question, and that's going to test your might as the king of the barbarians.
Okay.
But we'll get to that when we get to it. So this next one we got from Minibard is, what shot do you have down Super Saw that you maybe wish you didn't? Like, do you have anything that you use as a crutch?
Like, man, I was thinking about this question too, mainly because I didn't want to like let Josh down by like kind of like, sounds like he spent some time trying to come up with these questions.
There's a lot of stick related questions that I never really thought about until actually reading them.
Yeah. I don't think I have shots that I wish I didn't have. I feel like if you have a shot, I mean, we develop shots based on some sort of void or lack of defense in a particular area. I mean, we invent fighting techniques to take advantage of a lack of defense or a lack of technique in our opponent. I don't think any of those things, and then when that stops working, when that lack of defense or technique goes away, we stop using those shots as much. We, like the wheel guys, especially in New Mexico, we used to throw a shot that people now call the money shot. And we threw it like, you know, probably in the summer of 2011 or 12, maybe 2013. It was like I could go to clan and throw nothing but money shots, and it would just kill like every person over and over because just nobody knew how to deal with it. And now you can't do that anymore. And so I find myself throwing far, far fewer money shots than I had in between probably 2013 and 2015. I probably threw like 100,000 money shots, and in the past year maybe like 50 or something. So I think those kind of things that we come to, those particular tools in our toolbox that we come to rely on very heavily, once kind of the natural market correction, if you will, in fighting skill takes place, those shots become much, much more prevalent.
That seems to sort of work its way into the other question that he asked about, like what part of the Fightywacks you'd like to see change in the next few years. Would you agree on that?
Yeah, I think and again, this is going to be like a very high-end analysis of kind of the way fighting is moving. The lower end of the skill level is still very Amtgardy. And it's very easy to see when you watch it that it still kind of looks like Amtgard, and it's very identifiable as kind of a foam fighting sport, whereas the very top echelons of fighting, I'm really excited to see how it's going to change, and I think it's going to become much, much more like boxing, and part of that is that I'm a big boxing fan. But it's going to become much more about setting up opponents and kind of a mental game of chess, like before any shots are thrown. And I'm really excited to see how that goes. Also, just because Amtgard is a sport that is essentially 30 years old at this point.
Yeah, you're right.
And like if you look at other sports, fencing or boxing, or even, people have been punching other people with fists since the first caveman decided he wanted some other caveman's, food or something. So the idea that fighting sports have been around for a very long time, and they have this incredible base of knowledge behind them, and it's the reason why, like, boxing coaches can be some old, 75-year-old dude whose ability to coach 18-year-old guys is still relevant and useful because he has an incredible base of knowledge that he still understands. And that's really where we're starting to get to in the Amtgard fighting sport part of the game, is we have people with 15 or 20 years of understanding of this fight game and are being able to pass it on to another generation.
See, one of the things I'd hope to see in like the next 10 to 20 years is like jugging to be passed off as an Olympic sport. Just because of the way it's set up, it looks like it could work.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Like, people take jugging real seriously.
Yeah, like do full on Belgar style. It'd be great.
Yeah, I looked it up at some point, and there doesn't seem to be any kind of requirements to submit a sport to the IOC, which is the International Olympic Committee, to like request that your sport be an Olympic sport. So like you can request anything, and then they just make some sort of value judgment to decide if it can be a sport. So maybe we will see jugging one day. I'm hoping for elaborate high-fiving myself, but...
Yeah, well, either way, I'd still like to see it. I don't think I'd be able to do it myself, but I know there's definitely some more than a few qualified.
Yeah.
Okay, Drake asks, what is a drill or practice that new fighters should do regularly to improve their stick?
There's a bunch of great drills out there. Hit up the main Amtgard page, the Facebook page or whatever. You can send me a Facebook message or any kind of real good fighter. There's a ton of good drills. There's a ton of videos that will show you how to practice all these drills. Any of them is going to be worth your time. So I wouldn't say that one is better than any other. Footwork drills are great. Block strike is great. Attack and defend is great. I'm not going to suggest any particular drill because I have always been of the opinion that drills, let me be clear, because I'm going to get a bunch of hate mail from friends, but drills have value. But in the past few years, we've gotten into a kind of cultural situation where there's a bunch of people out there like doing PAL and doing block strike and then wondering why they're not getting better. And it's a fundamental misunderstanding of what drills provide you. Drills essentially, and the only thing that they give you is muscle memory. Mm-hmm. Right? They don't teach you how to be a better fighter. They provide you with, they automate a process that you would normally have to allocate brain power to do. Right? So, reposting blocks to counter strikes, which is what the drill block strike trains your body how to do, is normally a process you would have to think about. Oh, okay, I just caught a block, now where do I want to return to? Mm-hmm. Now you do 50 hours of block strike and your body's going to start learning how to just automatically return these strikes off of blocks. It's not going to make you a better fighter. It's going to make you, I mean, technically it'll make you a better fighter if you're well-rounded. So I don't think there's any drill that can take the place of just actually fighting. Mm-hmm. The soft foam sports have an incredible advantage against all other fighting sports in that we get so much practice comparatively. SCA guys will like go to a park and spend 45 minutes putting on armor, and then everybody fights for 5 minutes, and then they sit down for an hour. In Amtgard, I'll show up at the park, we'll get 45 minutes of gravity throners, winners, losers, and, I'll get 100 or 150 fights before 1 o'clock. And then we do a bunch of battle games, and then after all the battle games are done, we'll fight for another 2 hours. And I'm looking at 300 or 400 fights on any given Saturday. And then it's an incredible amount of experience and practice that we have access to because of the very unique specifications of our sport, which is one of the reasons that Amtgard fighters are probably the best foam fighters and maybe best stick fighters in the world. We just get so much more practice than everybody else.
Yeah, sort of adding on to that statement is it sounds like your SCA and our SCA is kind of similar because at the Renaissance Fair they have like specific schedules to fight each other, like I think it's like twice a day or something, and it's like 4-hour time frames apart from each other. And I mean, granted, I understand why, because it's a lot more work to get all your equipment ready and you're fighting with a lot heavier tools as opposed to foam bats. But still.
Let's take a look at the Amtgard booth where we're running a day-long stream of fights with children.
And to be fair,
and each other.
To be fair to the SCA guys, like I've never really done SCA. I've fought a couple times, but that's it. Like I've never. So I mean, I'm just relaying my experience from my point of view. So, like, if there's a bunch of SCA guys out there who go hard for, like, all day, that's awesome. I just have never seen it.
No, I totally understand. And I've never really done SCA myself. This is just based on the few interactions I've seen personally, too.
Yeah.
All right. So, sort of a counter to the last couple questions that Minibard was asking is, what is something you think that Amtgard has been doing well recently that you'd love to see stay the same?
I don't really know. To be fair, I try to ignore at this point. I'm just ignoring most of the political stuff. I think the last big political fight that I was involved in, it wasn't even really a fight, but big political happening that I was involved with was V8, and that was like 4 years ago at this point. So
Oh yeah, that was a thing. I forgot about that. Well, see, I understand that because you strike me as someone who mostly just likes to swing sticks, so I could see how that would be a thing you would get involved in.
Yeah, I mean, V8 was kind of like my magnum opus, I guess. I mean, it wasn't. I didn't ride it. I wasn't involved in the riding of it, but Dragonspine, I was king at the time of the vote for it, and the Kingdom had play tested V8 more than any other Kingdom. It was like double the amount of playtest hours than any other Kingdom, and we were fairly early adopters of V8.
Right. I remember hearing about this.
And I was able to cast the first yes vote for V8 rule set, so that was pretty cool.
Nice.
I got to do that. But yeah, I hadn't up until, well, and, I graduated college and got a new job and all this stuff, so I have a lot less time now. But prior to a couple years ago, I'd been king 5 times. Champion, I don't know, some number of times, and then all the other offices as well. So I used to do a lot more than I do now. Now I just like to hit people with sticks.
That's fair.
Next question. What are your AMP goals right now?
I don't really have any goals. I don't really think about stuff in terms of goals, I guess. I don't have any kind of long-term where you see yourself in a few years kind of situation.
Well, do you have any short terms?
I have very, very specific, week-to-week goals. I'll go to the park with a very specific, goal in my mind. And specifically, and this is probably something that's going to help. And I've had this conversation with Josh before, but specifically when you're at a park where the skill gap is so large, right? If you're a top tier fighter, it's rare that there'll be multiple top tier fighters at the same park. And in New Mexico, I'm fairly lucky that I'm fairly close to a bunch of those guys. Mm-hmm. I'm actually going to get to fight a bunch of them tomorrow. But you have to go. You can't just show up at the park and fight a bunch of people who are way less skilled than you, or you get bored and you leave. Mm-hmm. So you kind of have to come up with little games to, maybe games is kind of a condescending word for it, but it's essentially little games that you make up for yourself to keep yourself entertained, and not just entertained, but little challenges.
Right.
I'm going to work on this very specific thing. I'm going to block stabs with my right hand instead of my left hand.
Mini goals are the best ones to have.
Yeah. So, I have goals like that, very, very small, specific goals on kind of a day-to-day basis, but no, long-term, anything like that.
All right. Well, I guess sort of the last question we got from Minnie is, and I know you mentioned earlier, you said you haven't been paying attention to a lot of the politics since the whole V8 change, but that aside, though, have you noticed any changes in Dragonspine since Northreach split off and became its own kingdom?
Wait, you guys are your own kingdom now?
I think we were a week ago, something like that.
Well, you guys are doing pretty good up there, I guess. No, to be honest, no. And that's no slight on any side. It's just you guys were so far away anyway that even having you in the kingdom didn't really affect us very much. There's less paperwork to do when it comes to land audit time, but that's about it. You guys were essentially running your own selves for years before you became a kingdom anyway, so it's about the same.
I guess when you put it like that, that makes sense.
You're right. We still see the same. I see the same Alaska faces at Clan for the most part and stuff. So it's not incredibly different now.
Okay, well that's fair. Well, I know we've been getting a lot more and more people coming out every year to Clan, and I think we'll probably be able to do a lot more of that this year too.
Nice, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, you might even see me there, maybe.
Hey,
I'm not sure yet. I'm working 2 jobs these days, so I gotta make sure I got vacation time cleared on both of them first.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, what do you think, Vex? You want to do a live episode of the chopping block at Plan?
I'd like to. My plans that far in the year are a little up in the air.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll play that by ear for now. But anyways, so we're pretty much done with all the given questions we have, but that means we get to go to the fun part of the episode. And that is Vex's lightning round. So, for those of you who are just tuning in for the first time, this is pretty much where I kind of let Vex go off her hinges and just kind of ask whatever she wants, and that can be anything from like, you know, what's your favorite award you've gotten to what your favorite snack is. So with that, Vex, it's all you.
I love that one. What's your favorite snack?
Wow. Probably a toss-up between, like, Cheez-Its and anything with peanut butter.
Hell yeah, love me some Cheez-Its.
I just learned about just straight cucumber slices, dipping them in soy sauce.
Is that a thing people do?
Yeah, it sounds really, really good.
I kind of want to try
I'm
this.
gonna try it. That's my next thing.
It's not pickling them because but
no
But
pickling
it's almost
process.
pickling them, because soy sauce has a lot of sodium in it.
yeah. I kind of want to try this.
It's pretty easy. You could get some cucumbers. Nobody's stopping you.
Yeah, no, I know. It's just I never really thought about this till now. It's just
This isn't difficult, Hars. It's not gourmet.
I didn't ask to be born this way, Dad.
Okay, next question. What class do you hate to fight the most in battle games?
Wait, what? Like
Fight
what
against.
class to fight against?
Yeah.
Probably other healers. I've never played anything but healer or barbarian, so I can't really say. So yeah, other healers suck.
Sure, Sain, the Uncle Ruckus of healers.
Yeah,
For those of you who watch the Boondocks, you get it.
right. It's less racist when I do it though.
That's what? Okay, you know, I was trying to be subtle, but I guess we're just going full ham. All right.
Yeah.
Editing.
I'm not editing this out. I'm going. We're
Yeah,
going in raw.
Yeah, you can leave it whatever you want. I don't care.
What's my next question? What nerdy things do you like outside of Amtgard?
I do a lot of nerdy stuff outside of Amtgard. I play a lot of not necessarily. I play a lot of role-playing games, like tabletop role-playing games, not just Dungeons and Dragons. Kind of gone around the bend and play a lot of very indie kind of games, very a lot of role-playing games that are kind of just designed for very specific things.
Red Dragon Inn.
No, more games we recently played a game called Oh Dear God, Please Don't Let Me Die in the Cold of This Long, Long Winter.
If that's really what this is called, that sounds like the best game ever.
It's like a bolt-on module that's designed to be plugged into any kind of D&D campaign, and it's essentially for downtime over the winter, and each party member is responsible for a house full of peasants, and you have to keep them alive.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I'm learning so much today.
The only actually I would say the only
What?
super nerdy
Hold
thing
on a
I
sec.
haven't. Yep.
Okay, so currently Alexa's going off in Vex's
All right.
living room, and
Alexa, tell me a joke.
Tomorrow is a double point day. I don't know what the hell's going on.
okay, so that just happened.
Awesome.
Oh my
We're nothing but professional on this show.
The shit my husband buys for no reason.
All
Alexa's great. She's doing her best out there.
Yeah, I'm sure she is. What were we talking about before this?
Role-playing games, I think?
Oh, right, yeah. And then, keeping peasants alive and stuff.
The only super nerdy thing that I've never done is played Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, that's fine. You're not missing anything on that.
Card games, really.
No, dude, those things drain your life away and your finances.
The pictures are cool.
Yeah, the pictures are cool, and I can admit to that.
I'm not like morally opposed to like people who play Magic. I just never got into it.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, I played Magic once a million years ago, and I'm just glad I broke away from it.
I played twice. Once was in high school. Someone was trying to teach me, and I was just obsessed with the pictures and didn't care about the rules. And the next time was pretty cool. It was at PAX West in Seattle.
Nice.
And they had like a sort of hide and seek, finding different types of packages of cards so that you could play with, like, build decks with your friends and play with them, but you had to find them first. And the convention was spread out over 5 different buildings, so that was really cool.
Okay, so that sounds pretty fun.
Yeah, it's more interactive.
Kind of in that vein, me and a couple of friends of mine decided that we want to go to like a big cosplay convention.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to dress up as Mahjong tiles.
Yay!
Okay, that sounds pretty cool.
But there'll only be 3 of us, and none of them will match. But we'll just lay on the ground and like wait for somebody to like try to drag us off to go find another Mahjong tile.
All I can think of when you mentioned that is like there's this couple that would just dress up with a suit. Like one would be like they were dressed like basically like they were going to the opera, and they would just look for a bunch of different Batman cosplayers, and they'd be like, "Son," and they would fall over laying dead in front of them and wait for people to take pictures with them.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I got any other questions.
Oh, I got one. Vex, you can ask this one.
Got that
Hold on. Alright then. Alright, so I got one for you then. You ready, Sain?
Yeah, go for it.
So, Mr. King of Barbarians, answer me this. What is best in life?
To crush your enemies, to see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentations of the women.
That's right. Okay, you are the true king. Well,
none of the women I know deserve for that to happen to them, though.
Okay, that's fair.
Just gonna say that.
Well, either way, I think this was a good night. So, Sir Sain, thank you for doing this with us, and thank you for being a trooper. I know it's a little later where you're at.
No worries, God.
Alright. Well, thank you all for watching this at home. Tune in next episode where we're going to be looking at, where we're going to be interviewing Sir Sain Squire, as he mentioned, Mini Bard. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next episode. I'm Hars, this is Vex, and you've been watching The Chopping Block. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Peace.